I figured this was going to come up. I just saw a 2021 Audi S5 with updated rocker arms having issues. Any comments? Yeah, so there's a few things going on. One, it sounds like there's been one case of this. Um, let's just establish everything in the universe can fail, right? There is a percent or chance of anything failing. That's why airplanes change out parts, way before they wear out, because the older it gets, the higher the chance of it failing. So, every part has a 1% failure, half a percent, 0.1% failure probability, and so you change it at the low end of that to give yourself. But every Audi rocker arm in B9 and in B8 and since Audi released this, kind of valve lift style rocker arm setup, has a chance of failing. And so it sounds like there's probably a couple 100,000 cars on the road with these, and we've now heard of one.
Well, a couple hundred, however many, hundreds of thousands of cars with 30 rocker arms each.
Yeah, right.
So there's a lot of rocker bearings out there.
So every part has a chance of failure. The amount of failures of this are astronomically low, but what's the difference here? Because during that same time, also other perfectly fine parts failed, but nobody said anything. Well, there's this hyper focus in the B9 community about rocker arm failures. That's been pretty unjustified since the very beginning, since we started hearing about it. Yes, there are failures.
There certainly are.
But there's some type of obsession about rocker arm failures. And so for every rocker arm failure, there's a disproportionate amount of attention that gets applied to it versus anything else. And I think this is kind of like, I remember when I was a kid in the 80s, we started hearing about like kids getting kidnapped, right? And that's a big deal. Every parent who has a child wants to hear about someone else's kid being kidnapped, because that's the worst thing that could happen. And so if one kid somewhere in the country gets kidnapped twice a year, everybody in the country hears about it. It doesn't mean there's a huge widespread problem with kidnapping, but there's just a lot of focus on it.
Really unlucky kid, too.
Yeah, right. And so was this rocker arm. This 1 out of 30 rocker arms in this motor that failed. It's just unlucky, right? So that you hit that probability. So as a company that deals with these cars and does engineering for these cars, what we need to do is we wait and see what is the frequency, how common is this widespread or not, what is the percent of this happening, because right now, as far as we know, it's 1 out of a million will fail like this, and so that's just not enough for anyone to get too excited.
You can't do anything with that.
Yeah. But we'll wait and see. If it gets worse, then maybe we'll come up with a solution, or Audi will, or whatever. But at the time, right now, it's just a little bit of hysteria due to the extreme focus here. Okay.
Yeah. To be clear, I think those are 4-valve heads, so those are 24 valves. My brain always goes to 30 valve V6.
24, whatever. There's a bunch in each motor.
Lots of valves.